We had
I think we're alcoholics. We're always drinking in our episodes.
Shit, we're trying to get sponsored.
That's true.
That'd be sick. I think it can happen. I think we just gotta talk.
That's gonna happen.
Yeah, I think it can happen.
Alright, ready?
Yep.
Welcome back to the Playing Kidz podcast. I'm Ruchi.
I'm Rudy G.
And we're about to go in our second episode here. But before we do, we just kind of wanted to break down episode 1 a little bit and kind of how we felt about that and how it ties into this episode. So, Rudy, how did you feel about it?
Felt pretty good. You know, I kind of I went in with expectations. You know, I was like, you know, everyone's gonna see it. We're gonna get Kim Jong-un on it and all that stuff. It'll reach him before it reaches even our nearest peers. But that didn't happen. But, you know, from my experience, I found that that's okay. You know what I mean? It's all a progress. It's baby steps. And honestly, I think that the reception that we got was pretty great. Everyone I know enjoyed it, and I thank you for watching it. It was amazing.
Yeah.
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 How about you?
Well, for me, it was super nerve-wracking because it's like you're putting yourself out there, right? And I kind of never did anything like this, so first time for that. But yeah, no, it was great. Like you said, the feedback was awesome, and you know, we have 80 views right now. I was surprised if we got like 5 or 6. So anything above that was like awesome, you know.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's only going up from here, and we're gonna get better, and we're gonna improve. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, so that was the first episode, kind of highlighting our family journey a little bit. It's kind of like a overview, and with this episode we interviewed Rudy's mom, so it's a little bit more focused into like actual journey that she went through in Mexico, and then how she crossed the border to get here, and then a little bit further into where she is now. So that was kind of cool. That was an exciting interview for us, and even if she's my aunt, it's still the details that I didn't know about it. So
yeah, you don't realize how interesting your family is until you start talking to them.
right. Dig a little deeper. Right?
Dig a little deeper. There's more about everyone than the surface, and yeah. So we hope that you guys find it interesting as well, and get value from it as well.
Yeah. So enjoy.
Enjoy. All right. So this is another episode of the Playing Kidz DocuCast. I'm Rudy G.
I'm Ruchi.
And today we'll be talking to my mom, who is a master chef and has done some amazing things, and we're gonna see a little bit more about her story. So usually we like to talk, Mommy, about the beginning.
Okay.
Where it started, like where did it start? Well, not just like cooking, but just everything.
Okay.
What was the beginning?
Okay, so I was born in Mexico in 1972, and my mom actually left me when I was a little girl with my grandma, so I actually didn't have a mom for a really long time. So when my mom came back to bring me to the United States, I actually felt really weird because I didn't know her. She left me when I was 2, so I basically thought I didn't have a mom, I didn't have a dad. So it was really hard for me to say mom. And it was really hard for my mom to hear mom. Because little kids say mom this, mom that. So it was really hard for her to hear me say mom. So
And she felt uncomfortable?
She felt uncomfortable. She told us. And she would lose it. It would stress her out, And it was weird for me too. So I came to the US when I was about 8 and a half, almost 9. And
so while you were still in Mexico, what was it like? Like what was it like over there?
Yeah,
it was having fun. It was, to me, I think I had a really good childhood, because I know that a lot of my aunts who were almost my age, my cousins who were my age, they had a lot of responsibility. I didn't, because I didn't have a mom to tell me what to do. I was with my grandma, and grandmas spoil their kids, their grandkids. They don't do the same things they would do for their own kids. They're nicer. They're nicer to your grandkids. So I was free. It was time. I played. I went to have dinner with my tias. I went to play with my friends. Nobody knew anything about me. I did whatever I wanted. So it was a fun. I played in the trees. I went to the river.
Or anything like that?
During that time, there was no school in our little rancho. The only way you could go to school, which my two brothers did, was they had to go to a town. It's called municipio, which is like it's like the main town of this area of this region. And they did have a teacher there, but it was paid. So people who didn't have money, you couldn't go. But obviously, I was too young. I couldn't go there. I think when my brothers were going to school, it was like 5, 6, something like that. So they were already. My oldest brother is 6 years older. So if I was 6, he was 12. So he was bigger. And my other one's 4 years older. He probably was 10, something like that. So they got to go to school because they were bigger. And my mom sent us money so they can go to school.
And describe the town a little bit. So it's called El Raparito, right?
Yeah, so El Raparito is really small. At that time, there was only like 5 or 6 houses. And everybody knew each other. The majority were family members. There were some few that weren't family members. But I knew everybody and everybody knew me. Yeah, and the houses are made out of adobe. It's all made out of. I actually saw houses being built, and I still remember them. It's mud, and you put grass in there, and you let it dry, and then you cook it in a really hot oven, made out of dirt again, and warmed with wood, and that's what your house is. You do that. And I remember my grandma cleaning her kitchen floor. She would sweep it up and then wet it really good because it's all made out of mud. So she would clean her floor, and in order for the floor not to like wear out, she would bring more dirt and wet it and sort of rub it on the floor so that it wouldn't, because it's dirt. A hole is, if you step on it over and over, holes are being created, right? There's no like cement or flooring. So she would bring dirt, and it was always this red dirt. It was a certain kind of dirt, mud or whatever. And that's what she would rub it on her floor after she cleaned it really good. And she would do that often, even the wall. She would do that. En español es enjarrar. She would do that. Okay. I remember that.
And then I remember when I went, I would have to take a bath in the river.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you guys did as well.
Yeah, we did that too. We obviously went to the bathroom in the woods, in the little shrubs, wherever. When I was a little girl, I peed near the house because I was scared. I did everything near the house. But when you grow up, you have to go to the shrubs. Yeah. When you're little, you would do it anywhere. I mean, you're not going to go far.
Yeah.
No one's going to question
when you're little. And I was little before I left. But I went back, and obviously I had to go to a place where nobody would see me to do that. And every time, the girls, when I was little, you just go in the water all naked. You don't have to cover yourself. But when I went back as a teenager, obviously I would wear a little shirt and shorts. I wouldn't be completely naked in the river anymore.
Or you go skinny dipping like we did.
Yeah, you can do that. But girls don't do that too much. When your body starts changing, you cover yourself. But you can still wash yourself covered. Yeah, they wear a sort of slip, and they can still wash themselves covered.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. And then I remember you telling me the story of like the scorpions. So go a little bit into that.
So I was growing up. There were scorpions all over the place. So you knew how to deal with them, right? When I don't remember being afraid of them before I left. When my mom brought me to the U.S., I remember being afraid of them after I went back to visit, maybe 3 years later.
Okay.
And I remember like having cobijas, and I would cover myself from head to toe because scorpions. We were in the mountains, so the scorpions are in nature. That's their habitat, right? So we were living in their habitat. So the houses weren't completely sealed. The roof was open. The roof in the house was just logs, and they did put tile because of the rain and all that. But there was little openings. Like this house has no openings anywhere. It's completely closed. So nothing from outside will come inside unless through the door. And over there, they can crawl up the wall and get on the roof. And sometimes they don't want to get you. Scorpions are doing their own thing. They're not gonna. Oh, I'm gonna go bite this girl. No. They fall on you, you brush them, and you squish them, and they bite you. But they're not trying to bite you.
Right.
So if you leave them alone, if they're there, you leave them alone. They're gonna go wherever they're gonna go, and you're okay. But they fall from the roof because it's logs, and sometimes they're slipping. You know, their little step slips, and they fall on top of you. So I was really scared. And this, I was not scared before I left. I was scared after when I went to visit.
When you came back as like a teenager.
Yeah.
It was being grown.
I was probably 12 or 13. I was already getting scared, yeah. And yeah, but I don't remember being stung by a scorpion ever. So yeah, I knew that a lot of, my grandma was fortunate because my mom left and she would obviously send money to my grandparents. And they had probably that if you got bitten, you can get a shot and you'll be okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they had those medicines. My grandma did. A lot of people were really poor, they didn't, but my grandma did.
So like you said right now that Grandma Virginia would send money. So right now, at this time, she was in the U.S.
Yes, she was. At this time, when I was living, I came here when I was 8.5. Before that, I was there, and she would send money because my grandparents were really, really poor. So the only way they didn't take care of us was by my mom helping. They could probably feed us, this and that, but my mom really, really helped my grandparents.
So what were like the jobs that were there?
Really, there's no jobs. What people did to earn money is grow their own corn, grow their own sesame seed, grow their own vegetables, and that would feed their family, and whatever surplus they sold for money to buy other things that they might need that they couldn't grow, like lard. My grandpa was really, really handy. He had issues with alcohol. He had those issues all his life, so you had to be really careful to trust him with money because he could drink it, lose it, give it away, whatever. But he was a really hardworking man. So he knew how to grow everything. He grew sesame seed, he grew beans, he grew corn, and so that's not easy to do. He was really handy at doing all those things. It was just that sometimes he would go sell it and never come back till he was penniless again.
Right.
So my grandma had to make sure she went with him or sent one of the kids. And my mom tells us stories where my grandma would send her because he was responsible. He loved his family. He wasn't going to leave his daughter, get drunk and leave his daughter to know who knows what.
Right.
So he didn't get drunk when he took one of the girls.
Okay. So that's like the little safety.
Yeah. So the money could come back home. Yeah, she would tell the stories. My mom still tells them.
Yeah.
She had a lot of adventures with my grandpa trying to go to different towns to sell his stuff.
Okay. Awesome. So then, how did you? What was like the preparation to like meet up my grandma at the border to take you over? Like, how did that happen?
I didn't meet her at the border. She actually went to get me at my abuelita's house.
Oh,
she
okay.
picked me up. I was little. I was 8. She was singing. My mom. She never said I love you. She never really hugged me or kissed me that I can remember. But she was very careful with me. She didn't trust anybody with me, okay? So she picked me up and we came together, okay? And I don't remember how we got to the border. I only remember my experience at the border. And so she picked me up. And,
so she was kind of a stranger still, like when you.
She was still a stranger. I knew she was my mom because everybody told me. And, yeah, and so I was gonna do whatever she told me, right? So it was time for me to leave my grandma's house, and I was okay with that. So we came. I don't remember leaving my grandma's house to the border to Tijuana, but I remember from there. My mom had always gone back to visit us. I mean, it's sad, but there's cousins, friends of my mom that they never went back for their kids. So that's like a proud story to tell about your mom. She never forgot us.
She came back to us.
Because I know we knew a lot of stories where these ladies would leave their kids behind and never come back. Because they remarried over here and they started their family over here and they never reconnected with their kids back at home.
So her purpose of going was to always to bring you guys
to provide for us. She left because she couldn't make enough money to feed us and give us schooling, and her purpose was to save enough money to come and get us. And she first took me.
That was a hero story.
Yeah, she first took me, and 6 months later, maybe my brothers had to finish the semester at the school or something. They couldn't leave at the same time. I don't know, but me and her left first. 6 months later, my grandfather was the one that brought my brothers over and crossing the border.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So the story you told us yesterday was beautiful, and we gotta get that on camera. So you're at the border, and what
was the memory? Yeah, what was your memory of Tijuana?
So I remember the three streets of Tijuana. I've been back.
Still recording. Oh, we're good.
I've been back in Tijuana, and it's totally different. Back in the day, every guy in the corner would ask you if you needed a coyote. And a coyote is a person who knew different entrances to the U.S. They had routes. So it was a lot of money, but she had to save it up in order to get us across, and she had to pay it. And she had to trust this perfect stranger. And usually you give them half, and then you give, or some amount, and then you give them the rest of the amount when you're already wherever you needed to go, your destination. So yeah, that's what she did. And I remember, this is what I remember. I remember being in a mountain, a hill, I don't know, it looked like a mountain to me. And there was a lot of shrubs. It was more of a desert mountain. It wasn't like covered with trees like we know mountains, right? It was shrubbies, like little shrubs, little short shrubs all dried up. And so I was little. I was maybe 6 years old. I remember like a helicopter overhead. And I remember seeing lights. And every time there was the man, whoever was leading us, he knew when we had to duck. Because the lights were coming towards us. So we had to duck and become part of the shrub, get under the shrub or whatever. And whenever the light left us, because it was like a turning light, whenever the light passed us, then we could run. And I was little, and my mom was a lady, and so the coyote, the man leading us, he actually got me, because I was the only little kid with that group. I remember like feeling like I was flying. He was just like dragging me in the air, carrying me. Because they were running fast. Because they needed to get to another shrub, another bunch of shrubs before the light came back.
You can't be like where it's clear and there's no
you needed to run as fast as you could and get cover again, because the light was like a turning light. That's what I remember. And they caught us once or twice, but I only remember this one. But I think it was not easy getting across, that time. And I remember being in this room with a little room, like a bedroom with a lot of people, so they didn't just catch our group, they caught a lot of groups and they just put everybody in there. And back in the day, they didn't separate kids from parents. I stayed with my mom, and I remember there was a bench, and she had to put me on top of the bench so I can get some clean air, because everybody was standing. There was no sitting room. It was just standing.
So everyone was just packed in.
It was just standing.
You guys are just breathing everyone's farts.
So I was eating everybody. And so my mom picked me up, and she put me up. And I remember her giving me, she had this little compact, like makeup, and she would pull this thing out, and under that it was her money. And she gave it to me because they wouldn't search the kids, they would search the adults. And if they found any money on her, they would take it away, and then she wouldn't be able to pay the coyotes. So she couldn't lose her money. So being that we got caught, as soon as they sent us back to Tijuana, we tried again, and that time we did make it.
Did you have to pay him again?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, because that would be expensive.
Yeah. Yes. And one of my fondest memories is, now I live in LA, and when we came here, my mom went to a little town called Parlier, and you know how the grapevine is? Like the last mile before you're down, before you get to Laval now, let's call Laval back then, I don't know what it's called. When you're almost going down, you see these lines of a lot of cars coming up the hill and going down. You can see lights, headlights. And I remember it was like morning, but still dark, and there was a lot of cars coming and going, and all you see is lines, like lines straight down the hill and straight up the hill, because they were also coming. And it was really, I don't know how, but I saw 2 lines. Maybe it's because of that other freeway.
Yeah. No, well, you see the lights from the headlights
coming towards you, and
the back lights.
Oh, okay. So I remember 2 lines. And it was like, what? This is so cool. I was like amazed. So yeah,
So that was your first memory.
That was my first memory, and every time I go down over there, if it's like dark or first thing in the morning, I remember that every single time. I remember that little feeling of excitement comes back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is you're 6 years old. Yeah.
I was a little older. I was eight and a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you end up in Parlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you guys ended up in Parlier. What was that first couple years? Or
it was really hard. It was really hard because I've always been really shy, and I was shyer back then, obviously. And I didn't have any schooling before coming to the U.S. I think I understood Spanish somewhat, reading and writing, but I'm not sure right now. And so I was older. I think I was 9, 8 and a half, 9. So I started in kindergarten. Okay, and
you're 9
and kids make fun of you.
Yeah.
You know, so people would make fun of me. For one, I didn't speak English, and the other one, I didn't dress very cute because my mom didn't know any better. She had never had a kid before with her, so she probably didn't buy me very nice clothes or anything like that. And I couldn't speak English. I'm sorry, and the teachers didn't speak Spanish, so it was a struggle.
So at that time, Parlier was less. There was less.
People. Yeah.
I think there's a lot of Filipinos, right?
No. It's always been Mexicanos and like Mexican Americans. I heard that back in the 1950s there was a lot of Japanese there.
That's
yes.
what I meant. Yeah.
Back in the day of
like their internment camps.
Remember? Yeah. A lot of the farms were owned by Japanese, but they got removed because of that.
Right.
And some of them came back, but some of them never came back.
Yeah. I know in Reedley, there's like a lot of the packing houses are owned by like Japanese people.
That was because of that back in the day, yeah. But when I was there, I never remember seeing Japanese kids. It was Mexicans or Mexican American kids. Very few whites too, but all the teachers were white. Yeah. So it was hard to communicate. But they were really nice teachers. I didn't feel discriminated in any way in school. It was just a struggle.
Like kids are kids, even now. They're like,
but I've heard stories about people being discriminated, even little kids, treated really bad by white teachers. I didn't feel that. However, I did struggle because of my lack of, I didn't know how to do anything, writing Spanish or English or anything, so I had to learn from zero. And by that age, you're already supposed to know how to read and write, right? Yeah. By 9?
Yeah. But not in kindergarten. But
nowadays, kindergartners, yeah. So you need to understand the ABCs at least. Yeah. And I didn't know them. Yeah. Okay,
so then now, you went through elementary, you're in middle school. Like, is grandma still working in the fields, or what's that? What's grandma up to? Is my dad and my Tio Juan already around there?
Yeah, so they came about 6 months later, and their story is really cool. You should ask them one day how they got here. I just remember the story that Juan tells that, so they didn't come through Tijuana like we did. They came through Arizona for some reason. And they got separated from the coyote. They got separated, and they were being chased by the ice.
Yeah,
we called it the migra.
Yeah.
Okay? And so they had to jump over somebody's fence to hide, and the people that owned that house were really mean to them. They were actually hitting them with sticks to get out of their property. And they were little kids, and it was my grandpa, a little old man, and they were still hitting them. So I remember those stories. Those pretty sad stories. Anyways, my grandpa was really nice. He really took care of all of us.
Yeah. And then do you remember when you met up with them again, or how was that?
Yeah. So during the time that they were gone for 6 months, my mom rented a house from a friend. So she only rented a room, and we lived there. And once my brothers were almost getting here, she was looking for another house to live with because there was not room there for 2 boys. So we moved to La Colonia. We used to live over there in Parlier, that area where the pool is. And then we moved to La Colonia, and she rented a house, but she shared the house with somebody else because she couldn't afford to pay for it for herself. And it's that house, the yellow house in front of the little grocery store. That was our first house that we lived in. Yeah. And so she rented that house, and that's when my brothers came to live, all of us together.
And what was it like then? So you went through school, and you weren't doing too good. But then how was like how did you do in school eventually? Like were you able to learn English and then actually like be pretty productive and successful?
Eventually, I got the hang of it. It took me a long time, especially because I was shy. I think I'm like an introvert. It's really hard for me to be social. Introvert, is that right? Introvert? Yeah. Where you know the answer, but you can't say it kind of thing. Yeah. It's hard for you to get it out.
Well, it's like you don't want to, you raise your hand and your heart.
Yeah. So I've always been like that. I think I was never down because I knew the answer. I just had a hard time saying it out loud. Mm-hmm. And so it was a struggle, I think, up to like 6th grade, 7th grade for me, learning English. But I knew it, I learned it, but it was hard for me to speak it. And one day, I had to I think I was an 8th grader. I had to decide, okay, Olga, being shy doesn't get you anywhere, okay? You gotta let it go, you gotta just speak. If they laugh at you, who cares, right? And so I did. And I went on to high school, and that's when I had to make my decision. And it's gonna sound really bad, but I had to leave my old friends. I had to say no more. And because all the friends I had only spoke Spanish. Those are the people that gravitated towards me. And I still love those people, but I needed to make a change in order for me to grow.
Were they not wanting to learning? Were they?
No, they were newcomers. They were people who were coming. Mm-hmm. I had already been there 5-6 years, and they were my friends. They were newcomers. I sort of embraced them, or they embraced me because they were, we could relate to each other. I don't know. But I had to say, you know what? I have to stop this. And once I got to high school, I decided that they wanted to put me in the Spanish-speaking classes where they were teaching the same thing as the English-speaking classes, but in Spanish, with Spanish-speaking teachers. And I had to say, no, I already know English. Like so I gotta just not do this. And I had to ask, they tested me, and I started doing all the college prep classes, whatever honors classes I could get into. And I did really well in high school. I mean, there was not a lot of people, but out of 80 students, I was number 2.
Were you working through that time too?
No, I never really worked I worked summers. Every summer, my mom, she got her restaurant my freshman year in high school, okay? Before that, we worked in the fields every summer. So I remember being 14, 12, 14, and I worked at packing houses, and packing houses pay you by how much you do. So obviously the ladies next to me made 3 times as much as me, but when I got my check for $400 for 1 week, I was like, oh my God, this is like so much money. But those ladies made $1,500 per week because that's how they pay you. They were really good, they were really fast. But these people that hired me were just really nice people. You know, I was just a kid working, and whatever I would make would be good enough for me, right? And they were okay with that too. Right.
How was it like, so coming here and kind of starting off like very poor, and then my grandma started to be more successful and being smart with money. How did that change? Like, is that anything for you that kind of you noticed? Or you
my mom was never very generous with money with me when I was growing up. I didn't have nice clothes, I didn't have nice shoes, I had to work for my stuff. So she's become more generous as an older person, but growing up she wasn't generous.
I think I remember you telling me a story of one time that you would try and like all the other kids in high school had like nice...
So a lot of my friends, high school kids, now I'm in honors classes, college prep with white American kids and stuff. I don't think they were white, they were Mexican American, but they'd been born here, their parents knew English, so they were white to me. They had really nice clothes, but I didn't have that. So my mom was not very generous with me at all. Okay, she didn't think I needed anything, I don't know. So I would make my stuff, and there was a little secondhand store really close to where we lived. And I remember they had rolls of really pretty flowers or whatever, and they're made of thread, like patches. And I would my friends would buy the nice Guess, all those brands, and with those little flowers in the pocket, this here and there and all that, and I would just sew them on my pants. I would make my own. So whatever was in fashion that I could afford to go to the little secondhand store, I would cut my pants and glue it to my wherever. And I also, I had a friend who, back in the day there was vests, they were really popular, with ties. It was like, you would have a vest, but it had ties as the front part.
Like a...
No, it was a vest, but the front part was ties, and so I made my own. But you would buy these already made.
Right.
So I went to the secondhand store, and maybe 5 cents, 25 cents, I would buy a lot of ties and cut them up and sew them and I bought a vest for like $5, whatever, and I would sew these ties to the front of my vest. Whatever was in fashion, I would do. And girls even had skirts made out of ties back in the day. It was really interesting. Yeah, retro.
It was hip at the time.
So I would make my own. And sometimes I remember going to visit Berkeley when I was in high school, and they had like secondhand stores. They were really popular there. And I went to a store and there was some Guess jeans for like $5, $10, something like that. And Guess jeans were $70, $80. That was like a lot of money back in the 90s. And I bought them and I made them into shorts.
Nice.
Jorts.
Jorts.
Yeah.
So that's actually a good segue as to like where did so when you finished high school, what was like the next? What was the next?
So when I finished high school, I applied to a lot of schools, and I got to I actually got into every single school. My GPA was like almost a 4.0 back during my high school career. I had like a 3.98, something like that. I was off by a little bit.
Number 2 though.
I was number 2.
2.
Yes. So I was off by a little bit, and so I applied to Berkeley and UCLA and all those UCs, and I got into most of them. But I chose Berkeley because some of my friends were going there. So I felt like, okay, I'm a girl from this little town who's always been with her mom, close to mom. Like after I came to the U.S., I don't want to go and be all alone in the world. So I went there because I knew people. And I think it was a good decision, I did well. I also graduated from Berkeley with a double major in anthropology and Spanish. I didn't have those plans. It was just the classes I was taking and my interests were developing. I actually wanted to be like a cultural anthropologist because I think I have that in me. Being that I'm an introvert, I watch people a lot. I watch, I read people. I can sit for hours looking at people. And people think that's rude. But that's just, when you're staring at people. But sometimes you're just looking at them and you're captivated by whatever they're doing. You're not trying to be rude. And so I did that. I felt like that was something I wanted to do. I wanted to travel and study people.
Yeah. Okay. Well, now you're a chef though.
Yeah. So it took a long time for me to get here. After college, I got married. I had a son. And so I got to work. That's just life, right? Things happen. You got to work and provide.
Part of the journey.
Yeah, so I had my own business for a really, really long time. And I did well. I provided for my kids. I was able to pay my bills. So it was a good job. I don't have any regrets in any way. And I really like customer service. I think it's always been there for me. But I was in business for a long time, so I didn't have time to cook. And then I met Hector, my husband, and we moved to LA. And he was okay with me staying home, and he was okay with me going to culinary school, which is something I always wanted. Because I remember being in Berkeley, calling my mom, asking how to make beans, how to make tortillas de harina, how to make all these. I would call my aunts, my moms for recipes. So I had interest.
Okay.
But
You just didn't know that was it yet.
No, I didn't know. I had interest, even after I had kids. I would call my mom, Mommy, how do you make sopa de arroz? How do you make beans? How do you make atole de esto, atole del otro? I was always asking. But it was until I came to LA that I had the time to go to culinary school. And I went to Le Cordon Bleu in Hollywood. It was such a fun time for me because I'd never been to a big city like LA. And now I'm here, I'm going on Sunset Boulevard, all those really amazing places that you only see on TV. And I went to culinary school. And it opened a lot of doors for me in my mind. Before, I didn't know what a measuring cup, I didn't know what a measuring spoon was. I didn't know that, I only knew salt and pepper probably. I didn't know there was so much out there. And I was actually afraid of using all these ingredients. I was hesitant. I was afraid of using garlic and onion. And everything I learned in culinary school is about garlic and onion. That's what makes food taste good.
Did it click?
It's possible.
So
Now we're here.
No? Okay.
So I learned from going to culinary school not to be afraid to play with food. If you mess it up, it's okay. try again kind of thing. It just gave me a lot of
It's
confidence.
a trial and error process.
Yes, it gave me confidence.
It's about the journey.
Yeah.
It's about the journey.
One of my favorite parts of culinary school was baking, because baking is not part of my Mexican culture. We only make little gorditos de harina with a little bit of sugar. That's the only dessert that I learned how to make with my mom and my aunts. And now I can make cookies. I have to read a recipe, but I can follow a recipe. Before, a recipe scared me. It was too much to understand.
Right. So I know that you said that you had your own business for many years. Were you able to do a little business with cooking as well too?
I did. It didn't take off as I wanted to because I don't know why, but it hasn't. But I have done catering. I can cater up to.
You still do catering?
I do. When a job comes up, I have one on Friday. It's only friends and family that I cater for, people who know me and trust me and stuff. So it didn't. I don't think I've been focused enough to make that work, because it does take work to make a business work.
Yes.
Okay.
It's possible.
It's possible, but I haven't done the work. Okay. But I've worked in many restaurants, and I did that on purpose, because every place I've gone to work for, I've learned really useful things. So now I'm making some tortillas. That way you guys see how to make them really quickly. You just roll them. This is a roll, okay? You roll. You don't push. You do have to push it down, but you have to roll, okay?
Shake, rattle, and roll.
This is a French. This is called
That was
French.
nice. So that one doesn't stick.
No, it does. You have to add flour to it.
What is it called? French what?
It's a French pin, rolling pin. So the tortilla's here, and I'm extending it a little bit with my own hands, and it's not nothing bad's gonna happen to it. I just want it really big, as big as I can get it. So there you go. And you put in your griddle there, and you give it about 10 seconds, and it should be ready. So I put a little bit of flour because it does stick, and I spread it as much as I can with my hands, like that. I have to turn it now because 5 seconds. And now I roll. You have to turn and turn, okay? You can't, if you want good circles, you can't roll and roll on this side. You gotta turn it around.
So it's kind of something like about life. You have to keep going from different directions to help yourself.
Yeah.
To even yourself out.
Yeah, you
You're
have
a
to.
well-rounded person.
All around it, bro.
You can't
Yeah.
if you just go in one direction, it's gonna stretch.
You can become a lopsided tortilla.
Yeah.
Lopsided.
So you have to. Yeah, you have to turn it around. If you want, it'll still taste good,
Right.
even if it's not perfectly round. But if you want perfectly round, you have to turn it around, okay? And it's never gonna be perfect, really, but you're gonna get as close as to perfect as you can, okay?
It's like life, though.
It's like life. So do you feel like you're a pretty good tortilla mo? Like round.
It's a work in progress. You're never good enough, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're always improving.
There's always, yeah,
Yeah,
space for
always
improvement, yeah.
There's no destiny. You're on the journey still.
Yeah, I'm still on the journey, yeah. So yeah, so I went to culinary school, and it was a really awesome experience. But really, it was French cooking. I don't really cook French food. I cook Mexican food, Italian food, Chinese food, things I like to eat, right? It was a really good experience. It opened two possibilities, two different experiences and all that. And I think it did help. It was worth it. I mean, if you would ask me, was it worth it? Because I did pay $20,000, and I'm still paying my loan for 1 year. And there was no financial aid or anything, so I had to pay it up. It was worth it. It really opened my eyes to the possibilities. And if you think about it, even if I hadn't gone into cooking, I still have to feed my family. And variety is good, right? And that's what it opened my eyes to variety.
It's good to take that eating is good gratitude. Reflection of gratitude.
It's a part of enjoying life.
Yeah, variety, yes, variety. Eating the same thing over and over is not that much fun.
That's what I do.
Okay.
I eat chicken and chicken.
Yeah, I eat eggs and oatmeal.
And eggs.
Yeah.
A lot of eggs.
It's about variety. You can eat oatmeal different ways. Like
That's true.
I make oatmeal. I put blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, banana, and then I drizzle a little bit of honey on top, and some chia seed, and some coconut, and some almonds, and some pecans.
It's no longer oatmeal. Now it's a
I know.
Now it's a meal.
But that's the way I eat oatmeal. So I don't like plain oatmeal. I like stuff in my oatmeal.
So your specialty is Mexican food.
Yeah. And I learned again, everything that I'm becoming good at is because I like to eat it.
Right.
Okay, I love tortillas. I remember calling my tia from college. My mom didn't teach me this. I remember calling her and asking her for the recipe. I remember calling my cousin Luisa for it. And she would do them for me and show me and all these things. And it took me messing up to really get it. You know? They showed me. But I really didn't learn until I tried it over and over. I tried it over and over and then I got it. And right now, I think I'm almost there. It's not perfect, but I'm almost there.
So where are you at right now, Mom?
In the tortillas?
In life.
In life? I'm almost there. I still have a lot to do. I'm only 47.
Oh yeah.
I have a lot to do.
Absolutely.
I'm teaching culinary arts at Linwood High School here in LA. And it's really exciting because I'm talking to the kids about food. I wish we were in the classroom, but I've done demonstrations here in the kitchen for them. And it's cool and it's exciting and all. But, you know, obviously they can't learn from me if they're not near me. So I do, they do, we do, that kind of stuff. We can't do right now.
Okay.
But it's really fun. And I'm hoping that we'll go to the classroom and I'll be able to fix my kitchen and show these kids how to cook. That's my hope, you know? So we'll see. We'll see.
What do you think is the best way that do you feel like there's been any like really good interaction with any of the kids?
No, right now they're really quiet. They don't really talk to me. There's a few of them that, like today I did a really cool thing and actually I got a really positive response from them. I asked them, I wanted them to, because we have Google Classroom, and the stream, I asked them to comment on something they wanted to learn from me in cooking. And they actually responded. They didn't talk with their voice, but they typed stuff up. Some of them wanted to learn how to do fettuccine alfredo, spaghetti, tacos, pizza, pie, cookies, brownies.
It's right up your alley.
Yeah, so they talked. And that was
that's a plus.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially online, I'm sure it's a lot because
Yeah.
you're behind a camera and you don't have to speak.
Yeah.
But
So, but talking is really important for teachers right now, like the kids talking to you, because you don't want to be the one talking to the screen. You know what I mean? Only, like, you're talking to the screen, nobody's reaction, nobody's happy, nobody's sad. We don't even know if they're even there, right? So, so it's a good thing that I got a reaction. And they wanted, I was like, okay, so next time I do this, we'll do a week of Italian and a week of sushi. And they wanted to know mole and this and that. So we'll do Italian, sushi, and Mexican. So, you know, I meet with my classes Tuesday, Thursday, with 2 of them. So they come to me every Monday, all the classes. And then on Tuesday, I only have 3 classes. And then on Wednesday, I have 2 classes. And then like that. So it's one day yes, one day no. So I'll do that. I'll do it on... I think it would be too much for me to try to do it in 30 minutes. I need an hour at least. So I have to do it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So I'll be making food. We'll try. We'll see what happens. Maybe it's just one day, right? Then better? Okay. I was thinking that if I split it up, I'll eat the food. Nothing's going to go to waste.
it's true.
You know, if I split it up.
That is a good point.
Yeah. So we'll see. So I got them to talk, and it made me feel a little bit better because I've been feeling like I'm talking to myself.
Okay.
You know, like nobody's hearing. But I'm not the only teacher. In our meeting today, they're having the same struggle. And these teachers have been teaching for 20 years, so I don't feel as bad.
Yeah.
The struggle.
I think everyone's experiencing the same thing.
So I think if you ask me, where are you in your life? You know, I have a lot to do still. I have big dreams. I have big expectations for myself, and this is just one step to something better.
Yeah, and I think it's really cool because you've done so many things.
Yeah.
You know, you had your own business, the jewelry business, and then you just had so many different jobs, like cooking jobs, like a cooking school. And so it's really cool that you.
I subbed
You subbed
for 3 years.
Yeah, so you've experienced, you've gone around, and you've enjoyed the journey. I feel like you weren't too worried about where you were gonna be.
Yeah.
As long as
I was going somewhere.
As long as you were going somewhere.
Yeah. So I'm thinking I'm gonna develop the program if they when you're a first year teacher, they might not ask you back.
Yeah.
But if I do good enough, they might ask me. And if they do, I want to be on campus, and I think I'll make a difference in the kids' lives. Everybody needs to eat. Educate. You can't educate a kid who's hungry.
Yeah.
They need to eat before anything else. Education doesn't work if the kid is hungry.
Right.
And my plan is teaching those kids how to eat better, how to make their own food, how to stop eating hot Cheetos for one. That's all they eat at the high school.
Cheetos and cheese.
So, they need to try some variety in their life, not just hot Cheetos night and day kind of thing. Because, I'm serious, it's all hot Cheetos at high school.
And I think, too, it's cool because food is like, it really is what brings people together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you want to go hang out with your friends, you guys are going to go out and eat.
Right.
You know what I mean? If the family's getting together, it's around the dinner. It's dinner time or lunchtime. There's some sort of meal that's happening. So it's pretty, yeah.
And it tells a story too.
Yeah.
It tells a story.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of whoever's making the food, of where it's at and where it came from.
Yeah. So tortillas were always my favorite. I know how to make mole, I think really good. What else did I make good? Chilaquiles. All those things are stuff that I love eating, and I become good at it because I love to eat it. And now I'm making money and doing what I like to do, eat. I don't make a lot of money, but I'm making money.
Yeah. What are like 3 dishes where you kind of that remind you of like maybe like a childhood thing?
I think arroz con leche is one. My kids never liked it, but I love arroz con leche, and I'm always trying to make it better. Tortillas.
Would your mom make that for you, or what kind?
No, I learned maybe my aunt, maybe my grandma, who knows where, but it's part of our culture. I know that for sure. I ate it as a little kid, and I can't forget about it. Flour tortillas, mole, beans, rice. Those are the things, that
Staples.
Yeah, that I grew up with. I like dessert-wise.
Look at your sweater though first.
I made those gorditas with sugar with piloncillo. Oh, I like making bananas, plantains with piloncillo, because those are the memories.
I like plantains.
But I don't make them the way my mom made them. I add other stuff. I like the coconut with butter and a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I make it different. But it's
your own twist.
my own twist
Yeah.
to what my mom used to make for us. So there you go. Here are the tortillas. I'll show you guys. So these are the cooked ones. So these are really good size for burritos, okay?
They're pretty delicious. Actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think with 6 cups I made 22. So, but they're really big. I could have made 30 something if I would have made them smaller. But we like big ones here because everybody likes burritos.
We have tested them. They actually came out amazing.
Yep. Here you are. They're nice and soft. I like them this way.
Well, Thea, thanks for being part of the Plain Kidz podcast. There's more to come,
Okay.
so stay tuned.
Okay.
And we'll figure out how to make some delicious food.
Okay.
That was amazing, Thea.
Okay.
Okay. So welcome back. That was episode 2 again. Rudy's mom going through her upbringing and kind of how she came here and a little bit what she's doing now. And what else?
Yeah, so basically it was, the idea that, my mom's a chef, so she's been cooking for a while, and we thought it'd be cool if we had her on, weekly, to show us how to make a dish and really tell a story about it, how she felt about it and why she feels it's important to her, that particular dish. Maybe a little story behind it, the journey. Because that's what we're about. We're about the journey,
The journey.
Yeah, and so next week, we have another special guest, my coach Logue from high school. He's my football coach. Right now he's actually the coach at Selma High School. And I think you guys are gonna really, did you enjoy it?
Oh, that was cool. Again, it's talking about small town football, why that was so kind of special to him and, us growing up from a small town, how, that was special to us. But just kind of that culture of small town football and, and the excitement of it. So I had fun talking to him. He's a cool guy.